Trump. And hello, South Florida. Welcome to another edition of the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running daily radio show, all about the topic of real estate. My name is Eric Willner. I am your host, and we are here live 5 days a week at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you 5 different ways. That's right. We're on the AM stations and 1470 on WWNN. Part of the WWNN network, you also have the FM dial. So you have on the FM 95.3, 96.9. A third way on the apps on your smartphone. Yes, you can listen to your radio on your phone. All you have to do is download one of the free apps like the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the WWNN app. And then just tune in here at 5 o'clock and you can find the WWNN on the other apps. The WWNN app will go right straight to their radio station, and you'd be listening to me right here if you were there at 5 o'clock. A fourth way is on our website. One of the good ways to listen to us is go to our website at Automatic Landlord. If you happen to be on a computer, just go to automaticlandlord.com, go to the top of the page where it says the Real Estate Show. You'll hit a drop-down menu. The first option is to listen to us live, and you can tune in 5 o'clock, 5 days a week, right there on our website. If you happen to miss any one of our shows, the Daily Dose of Real Estate, then you can listen to any of our previous recordings. All of our recordings are uploaded onto our website, and then from there you'll see the date. Just click on the link, and you can listen to our show. Also available on that website is that you can download the podcast version and listen to us offline as well. So that's the fourth way. And the fifth and final way that you can listen to us live 5 days a week is on our Facebook page. Now on Facebook, we do broadcast live on facebook.com/The Real Estate Show. Or if you have a Facebook account already, just look for The Real Estate Show, all is one word. And you'll see our black and red logo there. You'll see yours truly there. And you can interact with us, make some comments, ask some questions, give us a thumbs up, give us a little bit of feedback. We love it. We love it all the time. So there you go. 5 different ways to listen to the show, 5 days a week. And each day of the week, starting on Monday, for example, is our agenda. You know, we lay out the agenda of what the week is going to be about in terms of an overarching theme, and then what we're going to talk about each day. And this week, our agenda was talking about why I like buying properties locally, and why I suggest you, if you're interested in investing in real estate, and I got some giveaways a little bit later on today's show, but if you're interested in investing, then I'm going to give you a text line, and you can type the word investor to this line, and we can talk a little bit more about how this works. But I was saying, if you're going to invest, why not invest near you, close by? Perhaps it's in your same neighborhood, perhaps it's in your same town, or not. Perhaps it's just in your same county. There's very special ways for you to figure out where the best place it is. But what I'm talking about is something that's like a short drive away, that if anything needs to be done, verified, if you need to meet somebody there, or just for plain old scouting around for more properties in the same area, having a proximity to where you're investing is a big advantage. And I talked about a whole bunch of different reasons, one of which is the ability to use your existing network, your relationships that you have throughout the week, throughout the area, and then you can leverage having more properties. And we talked about all the advantage of that on our Tuesday show. See, Tuesdays is our tools, tips, and techniques, where we talk about the actual things that you can and should be doing with your real estate investing. And by doing that, you will be able to move the football forward, right? It's not just about being a passive listener to the radio show. We hope that we are able to, as our mission is to enable and empower, educate more of our listeners to become real estate investors and to own a piece of the American dream, which of course is real estate. And I am by far convinced to this day, and every day a little bit more, that real estate is the ideal investment. And I talk about the 5 reasons why, right? Number one, it provides monthly cash flow income into your account, not hypothetical appreciation, not not earnings that you can't take out of a CD or a bond, but real spendable, usable, cold hard cash on a monthly basis. So the income is very important, and one of the 5 reasons. The tax advantages of real estate, and depreciation, for example. This is an expense I get to write off on my taxes, but I don't have to write a check or take money out of my pocket to get that write-off. And that's an interesting advantage from depreciation. But real estate has more advantages from a tax point of view than any other investment vehicle out there, period. And that's not the only one where it does the best for. The third way is that you have equity buildup in real estate. And it's nice. You have equity buildup by virtue of a number of things. There's what I call passive equity buildup, which is the systematic pay down of your mortgage. And if it's an investment property, it's usually because you have a tenant making a rent payment and you're taking part of that rent payment to make the mortgage payment, pay the taxes, pay the insurance, and you still have some cash flow left over. So as you pay down the mortgage, even in a flat market, if the market was doing nothing, you would still be building equity. You can add a room, update the house. You can make physical improvements that also build equity. And so you can build equity in a number of different ways. And a third way is that in negotiation, when you buy the property, you can create equity with real estate simply by negotiating a better price. So between the income, the tax advantages, the equity buildup, and then number 4, we have appreciation. When you do nothing, but the market rises and raises the value of the properties. That's a 4th way that real estate is exceptional. And a 5th way, which is leverage. And leverage is the ability to control a large asset without having to put a large amount of money down. I put a 10% down payment and I buy a house. As an investor, maybe I'm going to put 20% down and I control 100% of the property. I own 100% of the property, and yet I only had to put down as little as 3% for owner occupied, as much as 20% for an investor property. But the bottom line is I can control and therefore multiply my rate of return through leverage. So show me another investment vehicle out there that gives you all 5 of those things. Many investments will have 1 or 2 or a couple of these, but I don't know, and at the same magnitude, another investment that does this. That's why more millionaires are created through real estate than anywhere else, which is why you should be a real estate investor. And as our theme of the week is, locally in your area. Now, on Wednesday is our midweek report, and that's when we talked about the market, what's going on with the moratoriums, how that's going to affect your local market. We talked about a whole number of things. If you want to listen or re-listen because you missed the program, there's 2 ways to rehear these programs. The first one, go to our website, Automatic Landlord, click on the real estate show, and then you can pick the date that you missed, and you can, at your leisure, on your schedule, listen to the show that you missed. Secondly, at the end of the week, we have our 5 live shows, Monday through Friday. But on Sunday, we have what I call the mega dose of real estate, where we have a little mini marathon starting at 9 p.m. We'll replay the entire week's shows, starting on Monday, and then we play it all the way through the week. So it's an opportunity that if you want to hear the whole entire message put together, it's another way for you to listen to the radio show. The only place that it's not available is on our Facebook page on Sunday night, but on everywhere else on all of the channels, it's rebroadcast out on the airwaves, and therefore it's also on the app, and therefore it's also on our website as well. So that's our Wednesday. Now, before I get into Thursday, we started talking about the money side of things because Thursdays is always about the money. So we pick a theme on Monday, get down and dirty on Tuesday on what you can actually do and benefit from these ideas. We talk about the market and the information that basically confirms and points to where the market's going within the concept of what we're talking about. And then we go to Thursday. So before we go to Thursday, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here. A few words from our sponsors. You are listening to The Real Estate Show. I am Eric Willner, and we will be right back. TGIF. See, some days I'm reaching over to look because on YouTube never tells me who's on. Facebook sometimes tells me who's on, so I don't really know. So unless you actually type a comment, I may or may not see who's there. But TGIF to all of you out there. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Florida. This weekend we got the Air and Sea Show, and it's really cool because the planes are practicing their maneuvers. So they're literally flying over the house, flying down across the way, and you see them shooting straight up. Then they turn on the smoke and they do the corkscrew coming down. The Blue Angels are there. All different types of aircraft. So they're obviously rehearsing for the Air and Sea Show that starts tomorrow, which I plan to walk to. So let's see here. Oh, that's another automated. Hey, so I wanted to do an informal poll. I was given the opportunity to have a calendar. No, not that kind of a calendar. There are pictures of real estate, but this real estate messages and stuff. And I wanted to know if that's something that you would use. Do you still use paper calendars, or do you not use paper calendars anymore? Let me know, either in the chat, the comment, or to our website at Automatic Landlord. Thanks. And welcome back for those of you just joining us here on our TGIF edition. Yes, 3 TGIFs. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Florida. And I'll tell you, after the weeks that we've been having, thank God it's finished. It's good to have a nice little break coming up because we have been working at a breakneck speed. You would think that with the pandemic and this so-called lockdown that things would be slower, more casual, but we're working longer hours. We're doing more. And now Florida is virtually open. We now even they just lifted the mask mandate for Florida. Stores are opening up more. Restaurants are opening up to larger capacity. Amusement venues are opening back up. So everything is kind of coming back to life, and it is just like this pent up amount of energy and so forth. So I'm looking forward to a couple of days of rest before we pick it up and start all over again next week. And so finishing up what we were talking about, Fridays, we normally do a little bit of a recap, but I have some new stuff I want to talk about because in the midweek report, we talked about the moratoriums, and there's some updates on the moratorium news. And I had mentioned that the federal court had ruled that banning evictions was not it was illegal in essence. So the different division went ahead and appealed that. So we're still in limbo, but I want to come back to that in a couple of minutes. Now on Thursday, so we covered Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the first half. Remember, if you missed any part of this or you want to hear the rebroadcast, just go to our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. Oh, and I forgot. I said I was going to give out a number for you to text the word investor for the investor information. So if you want that information, text in the word investor, INVESTOR, to 561-861-2366. That's 561-861-2366. And we'll make sure we get that information for you. Now, on Thursday, we covered the about the money. We're talking about investing locally and why. And I was talking about, the advantages to different methods of financing, but ultimately the difference in net worth. And so if you've been on the fence about becoming a real estate investor, I have in the past done a little conversation about research that has been done talking about the psychological advantages of kids growing up in an owned house versus a rented house. They get better grades, graduate higher in their class, and go on to get better jobs. It's just statistically that, I'm not going to say it's in every case. Statistically, that's what happens. The income of the owners are typically higher than income of the renters. Now, that's a chicken and the egg question. You could tell me, oh, of course, because the owners make more money because they had more money, which is why they're owners. I'm going to call no on that one, because as I always try to emphasize on our show, you show me somebody that wants to really own a house, regardless of your income level. That just determines what size home you'll have, what price, regardless of the credit that you have. You show me somebody that's coachable and sincerely cooperative, regardless of down payment. I know where to get the down payment if you don't have all of it. I know where to get the credit if you don't have all of it. And I can talk to you more about how to display or prove income if you don't have all of it. So it doesn't matter what your income level is, but it does show up that the average homeowner has higher income than the average renter. And so I really think that if it's a chicken and the egg question, is the owning real estate causes, and it's a sign of somebody who's more financially responsible, a little bit more financially astute. And so we were talking about the average net worth of Americans, at this time. And we were talking about how the average net worth of Americans today, the average U.S. household, in fact, scratch that, the median U.S. household. And on our show on Thursday, I went into the description and the definition of the difference between average and median, and why median is actually more important and a better indicator. The median U.S. household net worth is on $121,000, which, as you can imagine, that is not money that you're going to retire on. Then we started breaking it down into age categories. And of course, obviously, the older you get, you would hope. But again, when you start looking at the numbers with owners and renters, the numbers are very skewed. In fact, the median net worth of a renter was somewhere around $9,000, so 1/10 of this. And the average, the median homeowner, there you go, of around 121, 122. So big difference. And when you get into the retirement age, the U.S. median, and this is where I wanted to make a little bit of a point, because I have explained over time how you could virtually assure yourself of retiring with at least $1 million of net worth if you start early enough and you follow a disciplined plan of acquiring real estate, putting it to rent, acquiring another piece a few years later, putting it to rent. And at the end of a 40-year career, if you bought one house every 5 years, you would have over 8 houses. And at the end of 30 years, you would have paid off your first one. At 35, you paid off your second one. By 40, you would have 3 free and clear homes, which I guarantee you would be paying more than what Social Security will be paying you at that point in time. And all of that was irrelevant whether you had a minimum wage job or whether you had a maximum wage job, because it's all a function of which price range you start out at, and that would determine what the net worth was. But I've talked about that because I really wanted to drive home the difference between investing in real estate and then taking advantage of investing in real estate in your local market. So very cool stuff. And so go back and listen to our Thursday show. Now, I wanted to pick up where I left off, not only on that conversation, but also take a look at the recent headlines that the federal court, so the housing judges were saying that the ban on evictions, which is basically a ban on contracts. And I talked a little bit about this week how important the concept and the sanctity of contracts. A strong economy of a strong country is based on the fact that there exist enforceable contracts. And the ban, now I understand we're in a pandemic, it's a once in a generation occurrence, and there may be temporary suspensions, but to have a ban on evictions, especially for, there's a certain group of people who are trying to take advantage of this whole opportunity and trying to have this cancel rent movement out there. But the federal ban and the federal eviction was overturned on Wednesday of this week. And now housing experts say a judge's overturning of the federal eviction moratorium on Wednesday puts tenants back at risk. And that's a whole other, we could have this social conversation if we had another 2-hour show ahead of us. But for now, I just want to kind of go to the facts. And what he's saying is that just as rental assistance is finally making its way to renters who are behind on their housing payments, they're saying that lifting the ban is too soon. And on the other side of the story, a coalition of landlords and property owners brought a suit, which, and by the way, which is one of many, against the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, arguing that the agency doesn't have the authority to issue a nationwide eviction ban. And the U.S. District Judge Dabney Friedrich, which I mentioned that one, ruled in their favor, vacating the ban on Wednesday. So officially, the ban was over on Wednesday. But believe me, there was emergency motions filed right after, and the order was put on hold right after an appeal from the Justice Department. So that means that the eviction moratorium is still in place, hanging by a thread, but it could be overturned again as soon as next week, depending on the success of the counter argument. The bottom line is that probably until you have the president and Congress behind the reopening and it's deemed, because remember the CDC came in when the former administration tried to lift the ban, and then there was a debate, and in fact the president was overruled, so he couldn't lift the ban. Once Congress so that's when that's when the CDC came in and said, well, based on our authority, which is on the health and safety of the nation, we're upholding, saying that evicting people at this particular time would put everybody at risk from a health perspective. So that in that case, the problem, so that was upheld, and no one argued because of the safety concern. But as you can see, everywhere is opening up, and more of the mask restrictions, the larger the percentage of people that are vaccinated or have the antibodies. And so that is where we stand right now. And we could literally within a day or so. So stay tuned. Next week, we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on that article. We'll definitely be keeping our fingers on a pulse of that article because as landlords, as investors out here, it's very important. And certainly for everybody else there who's a tenant out there, remember, this is not an attack on renters by any means. This is just to make sure that people who are not taking advantage of the system, number one, and number two, that it's in fairness to both sides. Remember, there's two sides to this equation. There's the landlord who has to deal with the banks, and then there's the tenant, of course, who has to deal with the market, the jobs, and everything else. So anyway, the music is in. That means we are out, and we are out for the last time this week, but we'll be back again, same place, same time again next week. Remember our Sunday night marathon starting at 9 o'clock, listening to us right here. So until then, this is your host of the Real Estate Show, Eric Willner, signing off, telling you to drive safe, wash those hands, and make it a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, Brian. Have a great weekend there. See you then.